good evening, fashion dolls, and welcome to a Style by Stevie Primetime exclusive. Today, I will be doing my exclusive sit-down interview with Greenleaf star and Noah's Ark star, Benjamin Patterson. I'm super excited and highly honored to be doing this interview this evening. Hi, my love. Good afternoon. Good evening, everyone. Yes, you guys, make sure you have your questions ready because we got to be on a prompt, time based schedule to do this interview. I'm super duper excited to be doing this honorable interview. I'm just so happy at this point. So, without further ado, my guests will hopefully be here with me in the meantime. Make sure you guys catch Style by Stevie tomorrow as well with my guest co-host Darius. And you guys know that the guest co-hosts will change up and shift each week. So let me know if you guys can hear me. Yes, Live Love Fashion DC will be here guest co-hosting on the 28th and the 29th. So make sure you guys tune in. And without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, my special guest is here, Benjamin Patterson, ladies and gentlemen, from Noah's Ark. And
How are you?
good evening. How are you?
Good. Can you hear
How,
me?
yes, I can hear you
Excellent.
perfectly. All right. Our special guest is here, ladies and gentlemen. This is Benjamin Patterson, and you guys know him as Noah Kendall from Owned Greenleaf, and we know him as Guy from Noah's Ark. So, without further ado, let's get this interview started, ladies and gentlemen. So, my first question to you is, which methods of acting are you most adept to? Because we see you doing a range of different characters.
Um, which method of acting? By that you mean like who am I? Who? What characters do I gravitate more to, or which?
Yes.
Okay. Very good question. I'm actually I'm the type of performer that likes a challenge. So um, if it's comedy, I try to find the hardest part to complete about it. And by that, I mean, if it's some simple, like, back and forth, what's funny kind of stuff, I try to figure out what's the conflict, you know what I mean? Like what's the character, what's driving the character to do something that's so outrageous that it's funny, you know what I mean? And then if it's a character like Guy from Noah's Ark, it's like, how do I make it so that the audience thinks that this guy is so crazy, and what is it about Guy that needs to be with Trey? You know what I mean?
Yes, and we've seen that. We're going to get into that character. So,
Hmm.
how did you put all of your energy into this character? Because it seems so believable. Like everybody, when you went up in the kitchen and you cut yourself, and I was like, oh my God, oh, how did you embody this?
You know, it was one of those situations where I really felt like the entire rest of the cast was so established and very the characters were so defined that Guy needed a definitive moment, and he needed to be seen as someone that you could actually go, okay, yeah, he's legitimately crazy. And I just took a chance and went with it. You know what I mean? I was like 100 miles in that direction, and I figured either the director would like it and it would be great, or they'd say, let's do it again and give me some direction. But they ended up liking it, and I kind of took a note from that and like, okay, hey, so this is who this guy is. Let's let him breathe, you know?
Okay, okay. Yes, because that character was so believable and is so pivotal into your career. Greenleaf, let's discuss Greenleaf.
Yes.
How did you get involved in such a franchise? Because that's Oprah's network. What was it like to work with her?
Okay, well, how I got involved, it was at the onset, it was a casting like any other, Kim Coleman casting. Shout out to Kim if you see this. And I went in, basically, I went in thinking that this role was perfect for me. I didn't think like, oh, okay, how do I play a person that grew up in the church? Like I just said, okay, this character is me, 100%. And I found out actually a few months later that I booked it and began working on it and shooting it. And as we were going, I didn't realize how big of a project it was until about 3 weeks in. We did a press shoot, and Oprah was there. And she's very, very easy to be with and all that, and um, she's very comfortable and comforting. And it wasn't until she was there that I was like, wow, this is pretty big. Like, she's here, you know what I mean? And she didn't have to be here, but she's here. So it was really cool. I once I got involved and saw the magnitude of how things were working, it was that much more inspiring.
Okay, okay. My next question to you is, because you have a very extensive resume of acting, like you're so eclectic with each and every one of your characters, and it makes
Mm-hmm.
it seem so believable. I fell in love with you in College Road Trip with
Ah,
Raven Simone, and everybody's familiar with that. And I'm like, who is this guy? Who is this? And he just came in. He was like Tracy, and Martin Lawrence. You worked with Martin Lawrence as well too. So what was the energy like on set with Martin Lawrence? Like, he's such a historical figure in comedy.
absolutely. Like, that was one of the few moments where I had to, like, keep it inside. Don't show too much, but also, I'm here too. And I was really, really, really appreciative. And Kim Whitfield, sorry, Kim Whitley,
Yes.
Kim Whitley is amazing. Like, she's funny on and off camera, and she's very just like, she just treated me like she knew me for a long time. And that was one of the things when I first got on set, because I was only there for a very short time. They walked me in, the director was like, okay, everyone, this is Mr. Patterson, blah, 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 blah. Raven was super cool. Martin was super cool, but also very just kind of mellow. And he was just like, hey, how you doing? And I was just like, I just met Martin Lawrence. You know what I mean? So it was really, really cool. But I also knew, like, as soon as I get in there, play my part, stay in my lane, do my thing, let everybody else do what they've been doing, because they've been working on it for, I think, the previous 3 or 4 weeks. So they had a lot more rapport. Um, so I just came in there and did my thing, and it was very cool to watch everybody and then to be a part of that project on such a grand scale, because I think that's a Walt Disney film, if I'm not mistaken. So that's international, you know what I mean? So worldwide, people were starting to see me, you know what I mean?
Okay. So my next question to you is, and I think you kind of covered this in the beginning of the interview, but how did you get involved in acting? Because you started off in music, if I'm not mistaken,
Hmm.
first.
Hmm. Yeah, so I got my earliest start through acting was through the modeling world. And at the time, I was pursuing music, and I was actually um, asked to participate in a modeling competition, which went well, but I wasn't really. That wasn't my goal. Like, I wasn't like, oh, I want to move to LA and I want to be a model. So as I got into it, I was still kind of keeping my eyes open for different opportunities so that I could further my music around, either if it was making money to buy equipment or if it was meeting people, in which, like, I worked on a music video with Fatima Robinson when she directed Girl Fight, a video for Girl Fight in like 2000, 2001. And, that ended up being a nice, relationship to have. But also, like, as I started working, I was seeing people that I knew either from the gym or from people that I just grew up with being in TV shows and commercials and whatnot. So I started asking around, like, how do I do it? Who should I talk to? I was getting the advice to, like, hey, you should go get an agent. And, I went that route rather than the route of, like, going to school for it and doing the formal training. And had some success and had enough success that I was able to actually go from modeling to commercial work, to working on some music videos, to doing bigger commercials, and then getting, I think an under five role on, like, Days of Our Lives or Bold and Beautiful, and then going from there to, like, Eve and CSI and then Shark and that, and just kind of making my way and moving forward.
Yes, because your resume is very extensive. You have a range of different characters that you played, and that's
Mhm.
amazing that you're able to juggle that. So, my next question to you is there any actors or actresses out here that you would love to collaborate with that you've never worked with before?
Oh, wow. You know, that's a great question. There are probably about 12 I can think of, but I would say first and foremost, um, I would love to work with Denzel. Like he's worked with somebody I know on a personal level, and I feel like that would be a good lesson, and it also would be someone that would provide a level of professionalism that I've come to be accustomed to with Greenleaf, working with Keith David, working with Len Whitfield, um, powerhouse people to work with. So I would love to work with him. Um, I'm a huge fan of so many styles of movies, like Guy Ritchie movies and Ryan Coogler, who did Black Panther.
Yes.
Also a uh, Bay Area person, if not Oakland. I think either Oakland or Richmond he's from. Um, but it's people like that are doing these great things and these big projects that I just be like, oh yeah, that's definitely next on the list.
You've mentioned Ryan Coogler, and I know we lost such an icon. We lost Chadwick Boseman. What were your thoughts when you found out about his loss?
Yeah, that was a tough one. That was a real tough one
Yes.
because for so many reasons he did so many great things. It's um, when actors portray roles that are iconic and worldwide, um, they mean so much to so many people. For whoever knows how, I mean, for infinite reasons, little kids that will grow up and see Black Panther will see themselves in roles that I, as a child, never saw. We can idolize things, but when it's so many boxes are checked, you can go, oh, okay, he looks like me, he talks like me, he walks like me, he stands like me. All these different things, those are the things that really get people's attention, and it's a real tough one, but it's also very motivating in that knowing that he had been dealing with that since 2016. And to know that he had gone through surgeries, he'd gone through chemo, he did all these things, but still kept that over here and was like on a trajectory to make sure his greatness was shown. That's very, 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 very powerful. So that was a tough loss.
And it's going to sting for a little bit. Hi, Naya. It's definitely going to sting. And it took Hollywood by storm and
Yeah,
such a surprise. Like you've mentioned, like to have kids look up to him, it's like this superhero. Like
yeah.
everybody has someone that inspires them. Who inspired you to get into acting? Because I know you mentioned Lynn Whitfield and Keith David,
Hmm.
Martin, you talked about Martin Lawrence. Like there's so many legends. Who inspired you to get into acting? Who motivates you to say, this is the career field that I want to go into?
Another great question. Thank you. um, a few people I'll mention offhand. I have a cousin who passed away in, I want to say, 2003 or four, by the name of Ron Taylor. And
Oh,
cousin Ronnie, as we refer to him as, was the first person I had known in our family to be in movies. And what he was famous for was, if you watch Little Shop of Horrors, the film, the voice of the plant was played by I want to say Levi Stubbs, but when it was on Broadway, originally he was the voice because he has a big, deep voice, and he's a big dude. So by the time I moved to LA, he had been on The Simpsons as Bleeding Gums Murphy. So he was Maggie Simpson's sax teacher for years. He had done Matlock. He had done that. He'd done a bunch of other stuff. He did Ally McBeal. So he had done a lot of things. He was, a regular working successful actor, and I know his wife and his son. And as I got going, we actually got to link up. We'd seen each other at family reunions, but we got to link up and just kind of hang out. And I kind of pick his brain about, just, what's it like? What should I expect? What should I look for? And he was always very, very, very motivating and very, very cool about it. So he really inspired me in a lot of ways. Like, yeah, you can do this. Like, you got, the talent, you got the looks, you got the smarts. Like, you can do this. Another person is a high school friend by the name of Russel Hornsby. That if you watched Fences with Denzel, he's Denzel's son, and he's also in Lincoln Heights. He was in 7 Seconds with Regina King, and The Hate You Give. So, from a personal level, knowing somebody since I was like probably like 13 or 14, and not being like super tight, but always being like, on the homie level, we were always like cool with each other. And then I would see him, I saw him on Playmakers for ESPN. Then I saw him on Meet the Fockers, and I was like, that's Russell, like that's dope. And then we started talking, and he was like, yeah, if you got, if any questions, if I could be of any help, here I am. You know what I mean? So those two people, I would say, are the two biggest motivators that I've had.
Okay. My next question to you is, how do you show your castmates the importance of communication?
Say that one more time. How do I?
How do you show your castmates, like your co-stars, the
Mhm.
importance of communication?
How do I show them the importance of communication? I show them that by making myself open, and making it a point to be the example of that. I mean, like, if you were to talk to anybody that worked on Greenleaf, they would probably tell you that I had music playing all the time. If I was walking to set, if I was going to hair and makeup, I would always have music playing, because that's just something I do. I wasn't trying to like impress anybody or do anything. I make myself available that way. I kind of like dictate the mood that's around me, or dictate the atmosphere. So I think just showing people that it's easy to just be cool and talk to people lets people know that it's easy to communicate.
Okay. My next question to you is, what advice would you give to people that are looking to become an actor or actress?
Okay, another good question. What advice would I give? Um, I would say know your talents and know your strengths, and then work on the things that you find are your weaknesses. Like, some people are natural performers, but they have, an aversion to getting up in front of someone they don't know and talking. So it's like the casting would be a problem, but the doing would be easy. You know what I mean? So I would say, if that's the issue, then work on that. Work on these things as if you've already been cast in, a multi-million dollar franchise, and you carry yourself in that way, so that when the time comes, you're prepared. You're already in the mindset of like, okay, this is how you come across to people, and this is how you carry yourself. So once again, like, the advice I would give is, take your gifts and run with it, but then also take the things that you don't necessarily feel like you excel in, and fine tune those so that they don't become a problem.
You guys hear that? It's all about finding the motivation and the drive to keep going. And you mentioned Chadwick earlier in the
Hmm.
interview, and he had the passion. We would have never known that he would have been going through all of these things, but he kept going. He
Yeah,
fought through it. Some people go through a lot of things and continue just to persist and fight through it.
yeah.
So it's all about strength and endurance at the end of the day. So we're going to take some questions from the audience,
Nice.
but I'm going to ask one more question.
Yes,
When you're
please.
not filming and on set, what are you doing just in your downtime? Because you've also done some DJing, if I'm not mistaken, as well too.
Yeah, in my downtime, which has been a lot for the last couple of months, um, as you mentioned, I've done DJing. I started before I did anything else. I started DJing. I started DJing in seventh grade, so I've always had um, an affinity for music. Like, I was a total hip hop head when it started in the Bay Area. I was right there in it, buying records, meeting a few people. I've couple of high school friends that have gone on and became very successful rappers, still doing it to this day. Um, and then also, as you know, am a musician, and I've created a lot of my own original content, but I've also taken it upon myself to release new music. So the first of the newest projects is 26 Letters Act 1, which came out in May, actually on my birthday. And Act 2 is coming out this month. It should be out in 13 days. It'll be out on September 15th. And between music and DJing, there's also photography. So I've been taking a lot more pictures, a lot more modeling editorials for people, headshots. I don't really post a lot of the headshot stuff, but the artistic, the editorial stuff I like to post because when it gets published, it's really exciting. And then also being a dad.
Oh, yes, you are a father.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that it's a blessing and a gift to you. Hello, Queen Sparkles. Good evening. Welcome. We're just in here talking to Benjamin Patterson. It's an exclusive sit-down interview with Greenleaf. So make sure you guys, if you have any questions, you can type it in the box or you can type it in the comment section. Really enjoying this. Yes. And it's all about great energy here. That's
Yes.
something that I'm all about. So that's one question I'm going to ask you as well, too. How do you protect your energy with everything that's going on in the world? Like, how do you just stay sane? How do you protect it?
Really, really, another great question. How do I protect the energy? My husband and I have a really good relationship and a really good open line of communication. There's so many things that can and do affect us, but there's also the ability to just vent. You know, it's like I can say that one of the things I've been very appreciative of is during all of this pandemic and the isolation and the quarantining and all that is I've always had someone to talk to and always had, you know, someone to father and also play with. And in doing so, you realize that there's so much good going on that if you focus on that, you can create a better energy and a better atmosphere around you. I have a few friends that we all have kids about the same age, and it's true across the board. When you're playing with a 4-year-old or a 3-year-old or an infant, you know, they don't know all this stuff is going on, nor do they really care. You know what I mean? So you're just happy, you know, because they're happy, or you're trying to get them to stop crying or something, and it really forces you to just shift your focus. So a lot of what we've been doing and what I've been doing is just, you know, on a daily basis is kind of shifting the focus.
Okay. Hi, Stephanie M. Costello. Oh my God, I love your designs. Your gowns are fabulous. And we have a comment. One of the followers said, I hope Noah is in the spinoff for Greenleaf.
Oh yeah.
What's your response?
Oh yeah, there's Mural Fans. Well, first of all, what's up to Mural Fans? I gotta move because I gotta charge my phone. Um, so what's up, Mural Fans? How you doing? Yes, I've been told very little about the spinoff, but I have been told there is a spinoff. And from what I've seen with the response of fans and just the general consensus of the show popularity, um, I'm confident that he'll be in the show. I would love for Noah to be in the show. I feel like his characters brought to light a lot of issues that people really resonated with, especially, you know, being a father and coming back for his son and understanding what that means to so many people. You know, a lot of people have a strong opinion about, Noah versus Darius and, you know, all the drama that brings in. But what a lot of people have commented on in social media is they like the fact that the show allowed the father to make right, you know, and it's like Jacob's character um, did his best to make right by the kids, even though the situation with his wife evolved into what it did. He was still able to, you know, show that he's a father still and will always be their father.
Okay, Mural Fans says there's more story between Noah and the family, and Darius can stay away.
Yes. This is true. This is very true. There is more story.
Oh, you guys, I see you guys are coming in. Wait a minute. I've got some more comments. This is an
Right.
awesome interview. Thank you, my love. And love Greenleaf. Love the show. Any more questions? Do we have any more questions? Type them in the box. Or you can type them in the comment section, however you feel. Benjamin will be here to answer your questions. More importantly, because I know a lot of people want to know about Greenleaf and what's going to be coming up, but he can't give too much. I promise you that he can't give too much.
Yeah.
So for those views, best show. Yes, the fans are loving it. Like Greenleaf is such a phenomenon, and to be a part of a franchise to work with these legends like Keith David and Lynn Whitfield and Oprah Winfrey. She's a daytime talk show legend.
Mm-hmm.
Just the energy in the room to walk on set itself. How was it like for you?
Wow. You know, it was very, very, very humbling, but also very encouraging. Like I say, when you asked me that, what advice would I give? I can remember a few times, you know, I would say after I did Noah's Ark, um, and before I did Grey's Anatomy, it's like, you know, what do you want to work on? What caliber of projects do you want to work on? What type of people do you want to work with? And by type, I mean, what level of actors do you want to work with? And there was a part of me that was like, just, you know, giant eyes, oh my God, mouth on the floor, just enamored with it all. And then there's another part of me that's like, yeah, this feels right. This feels like what you asked for. So go in there confident and cool and just be you and you know, have a great time and soak it all up, you know. And so it was really amazing. And I want to say I want to say Lamont and Keith were the first two people I met on the first day of shooting, of filming in Norcross in the makeup trailer. I think those are the first two people. And I instantly recognized them both, but they were just so welcoming and so open that it felt like, you know, it was just another day and, you know, this just another great thing. And that, you know, turned into 4 years of working together.
Okay, okay. Wait, we got a question.
Yeah.
Meryl Fans wants to know what is your dream role?
Oh, my dream role. If you are familiar with the franchise, the Jason Bourne franchise, that's my dream role. That someone who's, you know, fighting to keep their sanity, their life, their privacy, and you know, has to save the world. The other dream role is Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man. That is just that type of action hero has always been something that's
Yes.
been such a it's so attractive. It's just it seems like so much fun, and there's drama in there, there's comedy in there. It's like it kind of encapsulates everything.
There's a
Ooh.
question for you.
There's a question. You said you want to work with Denzel. What? Let's see. What kind of movie would you like it to be in it with him, and why? Um, if it was a Denzel movie, it would be along the lines of his John Q movie or his
Okay.
Out of Time. And the reason why I chose those two, actually, no, yeah, John Q because the immediacy, the fatherhood, the drama, you know, just there's so many relevant things that it would be a powerful combo. And then Out of Time was one of my favorites. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna strike that and say Man on Fire because the character he plays is very similar to Training Day in the intensity. Storylines are completely different, but his intensity in Man on Fire is something that is like when you can do very little but say so much, like it's powerful. So those two movies.
Yes, we could see you playing these pivotal roles. Could you mention John Q, and you've mentioned Out of Time, where it's like all of these high-driven action films, and we
Yeah.
so could see that because we see you on Greenleaf, and then we see you on Noah's Ark, and we would love to see you play characters like that. The characters that you have been playing have been like a character that's been close to the lead, or at least close to the second lead.
Mm-hmm.
And we would love to see you just be head of the lead, like a Denzel,
Yeah.
and just in the action film.
Absolutely.
So, any
Absolutely.
more questions?
Oh, hey, Greenleaf
Ladies and
Brazil's on
gents?
there.
Yes, Greenleaf Brazil is here. Hi, Ganny Arts. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Will we have any more questions? You guys can type it in the box, or you can
Please
type in the
do.
little question segment thingy down there.
Where are you
I
at?
don't know
Where are
what
you?
it is.
Where are you from?
I'm from South Carolina. What about you?
Okay, yeah, I'm in LA. Born and raised in Oakland, but I'm here in LA where it's pretty nice now. It was a little crazy hot last week, but we got through it.
Yes. It's
And
like at least in the 90s down here. It's like 95 down here. So I hope you guys are keeping cool and staying in, and more importantly, staying safe. So,
yeah,
what advice would you give to people and everything that's going on just to ease their minds? Because I know so many people struggle with mental health issues and so many other
mhm.
things. What advice would you give to them?
What advice I would say is, right now, given the times, do your best to stay safe by, if it means wear a mask, wear a mask. If it means, you know, keep a small group that you kick it with on a regular, do something like that, because what you'll find is, you'll pass the time, weeks will go by, but you won't feel like you've not seen anyone. You know what I mean? Talk to people. I mean, you can text all you want, but hey, this I'm Sharif. What's up? Talking is better. FaceTime is great. And, know that we'll get through this. There's plenty of times in history, all it takes is, 5 minutes of going on the internet and searching and looking at, the Great Depression, the early 1900s. Like, there's been worse that's gone on, and people have made it through. So know that you're going to get through this, and know that, there's things in place that we can do, voting in November, to get us back on the right path. So, talk to people, reach out to people, talk to people, um, read books, go on hikes, do stuff in nature that that you can do within the context of what area you're in.
Okay, we got a comment from my girl, Live Love Fashion DC, and she will be here guest co-hosting with me in September 28th and 29th.
Nice.
She says she works at night and she watches Greenleaf during her shift.
Nice. Well, I hope you don't do security. No, I'm kidding. That's good. Actually, I did an Instagram takeover on Greenleaf's account, and I went live with a few people. And one of the ladies I went live with was at work, and she was in, I want to say she was in South Africa, and she was at work, but she's like, I got like 5 minutes to talk really quick. And it was just amazing because I want to say that it was, I think it was like 10 o'clock in the morning there. But it was just really cool that people really just into the show and just supportive and will take their time out to do whatever they can to just check it out. So I appreciate it.
Yes, and it's not just a show, in my opinion, it's a movement because your fans know the characters,
Oh,
they
yeah.
know everything. Another question I wanted to ask you, because
Mm-hmm.
they asked Mary J. Blige the same question in an interview before. Do you ever watch yourself back on film?
And I see B Tate just joined. That's my cousin. Um, do I watch myself back? Absolutely. I am the type of artist slash performer slash actor that I believe that the best way to get yourself better is to watch yourself and not necessarily tear yourself down and be super critical, but just to get on there and see what it is you look like, and do what the pros do what Patti LaBelle does, do what Keith David does. Get on this, get yourself, get out of your own head and look at it objectively, and understand that you're presenting a product,
So what's the best way you can do that? And I absolutely, I didn't like it at first because it's kind of weird, but at the same time, there's a side of me that's like, I enjoy watching a performance. So I would, do my best and just, then turn around and watch it and see what I did. And then, okay, like I want to change this. I want to do that a little bit better. One of the things on Greenleaf I really liked was the directors were very, 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 um, they were very much for the artist and for the actors. So they would ask us on certain scenes, like, do you want to do another take? Do you want to do another take? Do you feel like you did exactly what you want? Is it hard for you to get into characters while you are filming movies? I got a question here from Banks Terrence.
Yeah. And
Uh,
there's another one too from Mural Fans.
okay, so let me get this one first. Is it hard to get into characters? Not necessarily. While I'm filming, when it initially starts, it's a little bit more challenging because you haven't seen it yet. You have an idea in your head and you express it, and then once it gets going, it becomes easier. And then once the momentum is there and you've done a season of it, you know who this person is. So it's like you're putting on this outfit. You know what the outcome is going to be. So it's not hard once you start it. It's tougher on the initial run. And then what is Ben's favorite car? I see he likes cars. I love cars. I love all sorts of cars. I love new cars more than I love old school cars. So it's a little bit tougher to answer and say there's one specific car. I do love BMWs. I do love, Italian sports cars. I love Porsches. I also have a truck. So, there's a lot of cars I like. And I have a bucket list, which I've been compiling. And it's not a bucket list like things I want to check off. It's a bucket list, like it's a list of buckets. So today's bucket will be pretty funny. The last one was I think it was like an 81 Riviera or something like that. It was just looking a little homely. But anyway, that's that.
Any more questions before we conclude this interview? This was such an amazing time. I had such a great time with you and interviewing you, and I feel so honored to just be
Thank
in your
you.
presence during this interview. When I reached out to Ben, he was just so humble, and I said I have to interview him. I just have to because he's such a sweet person, and I've been a fan of your work. Like I said, ever since College Road Trip with Raven and
Mm-hmm.
Martin, and now Greenleaf, and then Noah's Ark. I said, well, he's probably not like that because it literally the character guy seems so believable. I'm just like I was scared for a while because when you cut yourself and then you and Rodney Chester's character on Noah's Ark got into it, y'all were back and forth like just the dynamic. I said he is probably different than he's not like that because some actors get the misconception that they're going to be a certain way that you would see them on film, but when you do an interview with them on person, it's completely different.
Yeah.
What do you have to say to people that think that you're like your characters?
Wow. Another great question. I've been called out in public by people, and they're generally in a humorous way saying like, I thought you were that crazy bitch from the show. And most people are still pretty cool about it. There's only been a few that were like, I wasn't sure I should even come over here and talk to you because I really hated you on this show. Thankfully, Greenleaf has shown me in a different light, and thankfully, Grey's Anatomy showed me in a completely different light. But I'm also very appreciative because to me, that shows that the character was so believable that, people really think that that's who I am. So I would always, take it in stride that they would be critical, but also appreciative that, the character made such an impact that they actually believed that what I was doing was true. So I always have a good time with it.
Yes. So would you be down for the reboot if they invited you back? If your character had to get revived, because we know Noah's Ark had the Rona Chronicles, shout
Mm-hmm.
outs to Patrick Ian Polk, such a talented soul and individual. Would you be able to do a reboot if they asked your character guy to come back?
Yeah, I've another person asked me that if they reached out to me and we worked it out, then yeah, because I feel like the show was such an important show, being the first of its kind,
Yeah.
with such a wide reach, and then the way things are now with so many avenues, be it Apple TV, Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, whatever. I'm sure that they could find a home and have worldwide distribution. So I think that if it gets worked out and I'm asked to come back, that'd be great.
Okay. Now, other than because you have so many, you're like the jack of all trades. You do it all.
Mhm.
There's like there's nothing he can't do. Would you ever get into production, like film production, or being behind the lens? Because we see a lot of people like Ava DuVernay. She's directing and then she's on. Like, would you ever do anything like that?
Yeah, that's another great question. You were just coming with it on these questions. Um, I've never done it, but I've actually considered um, writing a project or two, because the composer in me understands seeing the whole completed picture. So, being that I've never directed actors, that would be something new for me. However, the photographer side of me, I'm able to communicate to people because I've modeled. I'm able to communicate what it is I want to see and then capture it. I think it would be a good fit to move into production eventually, or maybe even directing. Um, but at this point in the career, it's still a little ways out. But I have started writing a few projects with some various friends. I have a couple friends that one is a writer on Blackish, and the other is a film producer and works just on various projects. Um, and we've talked about a few things that, like, oh yeah, we could do something like this. We could put something together if we just put the time into it. So there's a few things cooking.
Okay. Wait a minute. We got some comments. The chat is moving so fast. All right. B Tate says, bet on yourself. You never know what can happen if you believe in your abilities and what you bring to the table. Creativity is limitless. I love that. And I wish it was a way that I could pin that comment.
Yeah.
I love that. Yep. I got it. I can pin it.
There we go.
I
Yeah,
love that. And that's what it's about. It's about inspiring the next generation. Now, you
yeah.
said you have a son. Now, how or what would be your reaction to your son saying, Dad, I want to get into acting?
Wow. If my son said that, if he was genuinely, not my instigation, was like, hey, I want to do this, I would be very supportive, and I would also give him the framework that he would need to be successful and to navigate just past enough, of the BS stuff that you don't necessarily have to go into, um, being new. You know what I mean? I would absolutely champion it with him, but I would also make sure that he has, you know, I mean, he's 4 now, so this would be years from now. But if it was like, if he's 9 or 10, I would be more along the lines of like, okay, let's get you through school, and have that as a foundation. Because nothing against actors that start off in their 4 and 5. I mean, look at the kids on Greenleaf, the little ones, Winky and his twin brother. There's a lot of people that do it, but the more successful you get, the less of a childhood you really do have. So I would be supportive, but I would also, I would be intentional on what he is able to do and to be a part of.
And I know you said as a father, you mentioned education. Education is a key thing. We have to have that. So many people say, oh, well, I want to become an actor or I want to become an actress. And the thing is, it's like, what are you doing to put the work forth? What are you doing to
Right.
make sure that you have the work and the credibility? Because some people don't make it. Some
Yeah.
people just don't make it. And some people do,
Yeah.
with or without a college education. But I know you as a father, this is something that you're predominant about your son doing. And yes, Mural Fans, balance is definitely important. And that's another question I wanted to ask you. As a father and an actor, and you have all these titles, how are you able to balance it out all together?
You know, I figure it out as I go because um, when I was shooting the first season of Greenleaf, Zachary was born. He was born in January, and you can do all the preparation you want to leading up to it, but nothing is like the day he's born. And now, game time. So, luckily, you know, our relationship is such that we were able to adjust. And, you know, my husband was able to take some time off. I was able to keep working. And then once the show wrapped, I was able to take some time off. And he was doing a lot more traveling for work. But you just kind of figure it out as you go. You know, I've read so many stories of single parents. I remember Taraji got an award, and she's a single mother. You know what I mean? With I think 2 kids, if I'm not mistaken. But I remember she was giving a speech, and she was like to all the single moms out there, you know, like you can do it. And just knowing that you can do it gives me at least the motivation to keep going and to keep figuring it out. And then, you know, having, you know, a little bit of sense, you kind of figure out, okay, hey, I've made it this far. Like it's really not changing. So let me keep things going and let me make things better. So that we you know, we managed to keep our sanity. There was a few little moments in there where like, what's happening?
Any more questions, ladies and gentlemen, before we conclude this interview? Because this is such an amazing interview. Just your energy, your spirit, I can feel it. It's just awesome. My last question: how was it like working with Brodie Dandridge? You two had an epic scene season one.
Thank you, Mural Fans. It was wonderful. She was a really she's a very multifaceted actor as well. I use actor instead of actress. One of my actor teachers, um, she told me, she's like, we're all actors. I was like, okay, cool. So anyway, clear that up. Um, she was wonderful to work with and a very focused and driven actor to work with. And I want to say that the scenes in season one, to me, that were really definitive, um, showed me why she was the lead. You know what I mean? Like she had some really um, powerful scenes to do, and just the behind the scenes part of it, to see someone have to do it over and over and over again, you really do get a sense of what it is to lead a show or lead a movie. And so it was really educational. You know, it was educational. You see how people treat people. You see how you know, memorization comes into play, and how free you have to be with your character in order to be accessible emotionally and to be able to turn it on over and over and over again. So it was interesting.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was our last question. We're going to
Mhm.
conclude this interview. Thank you so much for such a pivotal moment, just with you, an intimate, pivotal moment with you, because I thought of you as your character. Now I got kind of scared to do this interview, but I said, okay, I can do this. I can do this. I'm pretty sure he's not like that. So thank you so much for your time and just an amazing interview.
Absolutely. I appreciate you reaching out. I do check my messages. So this is proof. But I really appreciate the time and the thought that you've put into this, because you didn't come with some whack questions. You came with some very thought provoking questions. So I hope people will get a lot out of this. If you post it later, you know, people that don't follow me can now follow me. They'll stay up on what's going on with me and the music and the next, you know, TV and film projects. So I appreciate everything that you've done, everything that you've said.
You are so welcome. And again, I'm so honored. So you guys stay tuned on Greenleaf. Ben can't tell you too much, so you just have to follow him. You got to stay tuned. It'll be like a spoiler alert. I know some of the audience, they'll be asking, well, what's going to happen next and what's going to happen? They can't tell you. So
Yeah,
thank you again so much for such an amazing, iconic interview.
absolutely, absolutely, and we'll do it again as soon as we find out something about the
Yes.
show. We can do this again.
I would love to have you back. And you guys, please follow Ben. Go and check out everything that he is doing. Support, live, love, and more importantly, make sure you guys are please staying safe at this time right now. And remember everything that we talked about in this interview, which is encouraging and, like B-Take said, the comment that I pinned, betting on yourself. You never know where it can lead you if you just have a little bit of faith and encouragement.
Yep. Absolutely.
So
Well, thank you so
thank
much.
you so much. You too. Take care and you have a blessed evening.
Absolutely. You too.
And you guys go and follow Ben and take care. I love you and please stay safe. Remember, wash your hands, wear your mask, and more importantly, social distance.
There you go. Have a good one.
You too.